Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi, guys. How are you today? Hi. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yay. What's new? What's up? How are you? What's the weather like? As you probably see, somewhere behind me there is some kind of sun, but the weather is changing, to be honest. And we have got a lot of changes in the weather. So, yeah. For example, it was very rainy like an hour ago, and now we have sun. So, yeah. Typical weather here in my region, and yay! Hi, guys. I'm really happy to see you all. How are you today? Please comment down below. Is everything all right for you? Maybe you had something interesting happening to you. So, yay! And while you're doing that, I hope that you can hear me well. I hope that you can see me well. So, today we, as usual, have our stream because it is A Sunday today, and it is B, it is 5 p.m. Moscow time. And for those of you who live in different regions, in different time zones, your time may be different, but still I think it is a Sunday today for you. So guys, today we will talk about some basics. We will cover basic grammar for your exam. We will talk about a lot of interesting things that you definitely need to know to pass your exam and to get as many points as it is humanly possible. So let's start doing that. But I would like to introduce myself first. Probably for those of you who have already seen at least one of our streams, you might be familiar with me. But for those of you who have not seen any of our streams yet, let me introduce myself. And yep, my name is Daria. I am a teacher at Учёба.ру. I graduated from Sochi State University. I passed my CAE, which is Cambridge exam advanced, and my TKT, which is teaching knowledge test. I studied both in the UK and in Russia. And you can probably, if you have seen any of our streams and seen me streaming, you can probably say that, yes, I am a huge coffee addict, and this is my life right here in a mug. And also I am a keen nature photographer, so yeah guys, that's all about me. And of course, as usual, I am not alone here today. I am with the amazing school which is called Учёба.ру, and we have got a lot of people who graduated with us. So 12,000 graduates, guys. These people passed their ЕГЭ and their ОГЭ with us. So 12,000 people, which is quite a lot in my opinion. And 4,200 of our students got 80 plus for the exams, for their ЕГЭ, and a 5 for their ОГЭ. So, of course, kudos to those students who did that. Kudos to our graduates. And of course, these results would not be possible without our amazing teachers. And I'm very proud to be a part of this absolutely wonderful, amazing team of teachers. So, what we do, we prepare you for Russian state exams. And we can guarantee you entrance to the university, but there is a but here. Not a catch, but just a but. You need to prepare with us for 3 exams. That is really important. Another very important thing is that you must not, guys, I cannot stress that enough, you must not miss any classes. And you should... No, let me say you must do your homework, because without doing any home task, any homework, which gives usually, well, why students don't like doing their homework? Because it's boring, you kind of know everything, but blah, blah, blah. But why do teachers exist on giving home task and giving you some homework to do is because we want you to know the topic better. It's because we want you to understand it better. So yeah, don't miss classes, prepare with us for 3 exams, and of course do your homework. That all together guys, will guarantee you entrance to the university. Next one, which I am very proud of, is a progress check. So the thing here is you get a mock exam every single month. Every single month, guys. Can you imagine that? So one in September, one in October, November, December, and so on, so forth, up until the very end of our course. So why is it important? You know that it is important to track your progress, right? You know it is important to understand whether you're stuck somewhere, whether you don't understand this or that. So that is why we offer you progress checks. And let me tell you, those progress checks are just like real exam, except for you don't have to go anywhere to write them. But yeah, they're just like a real thing. You have the same time limit and you have them checked by the experts. So that's really cool. And of course, another cool feature is that different level groups, which basically are there to allow you to study at your own pace. So that is why we think that it is a really good idea to divide students into level groups, because you don't have to worry if you don't understand something. You don't have to worry if you're far ahead of someone else. You can study at your own pace, and that is possible because we have different level groups. So I hope that's clear, guys. And let us talk about the topic today. As I already said, we have got basic grammar, which you need for your exams. That is what we do. So, and today in the spotlight, we will talk about several things. We will talk about sentences. We will talk about questions. We will talk about verbs. We will talk about plurals, and we will talk about numerals. These topics are here not because I wanted them to be there and I didn't want anything else to be there, but because some of the more difficult topics are already covered in our streams. Some of the other topics may be also quite basic. They will be covered in our streams. So this is the basics that is not covered in our streams yet, and it is not going to be covered in the foreseeable future. So yes, this is why we have these topics in the spotlight right here. So one more time, we are talking about sentences today. We are talking about questions today. We are talking about verbs, plurals, and numerals today. So I hope the agenda is more or less clear, and let's start. So why we're here? We are here to talk about grammar. Let's start with the sentences. So basically, you cannot say anything unless you do it in a sentence, right? Well, of course, it can be just one word like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. So something like that, like, oh, or no, something like that. But usually, we talk in sentences, right? And there are basically different types of sentences. Positive, for example, I live here, or my name is Daria. That is a statement. That is a positive sentence right here, right? We have got negative, which is I don't live here. For example, I don't live here, I live somewhere else. Or my name is not Marina, right? My name is Daria, so my name is not Marina. And questions. For example, you ask your friend, do you live here? Or you ask the person, oh, do you know him? Or do you know her? Do you know them? Do you study here? Or what's your name? All of those are questions. So basically, positive sentences are here to state some facts. We don't ask anything. We don't do anything else. We just state facts, right? It's just facts, nothing else. Negative is when we say no. No, it's not me. It's not about me. I didn't do that. He didn't do it. And we didn't do it. So like, no, it's not about us. So that is when we need negative sentences. And questions is all the way here to kind of satisfy our curiosity, because we have a lot of questions, and that is how we do a lot of stuff. That is how we learn, by asking questions. That is how we know something new, by asking questions. That is how we communicate with people, by asking questions. So all of those are really, really, really important. And let me tell you that knowing those types of sentences and knowing those types of structures in general is really important when we are talking about the exam. Why? Why, guys, is that important? Because first off, let me start with the questions first. We have got the whole task in speaking when you need to ask questions. Just 4 questions, nothing else, but you need to ask them correctly. They should be grammatically correct. The topic should be there. You should follow the prompt that are given to you. So everything is about questions, and that is just one task. Another task, when it is really, really, really important to know how to ask questions, is 37. Why? Why is it so important to know how to ask questions in this one? Because this is an email, guys. And apart from answering the questions you are given in the task, in the prompt, in this letter from your English-speaking pen friend, which you are provided with, or an email from your English-speaking pen friend you are provided with, it is really, really, really important to read the next part of the task, which is basically ask 3 questions about blah, 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 blah. Of course, the topic is important for those questions, but if you don't ask the questions correctly, you don't get the points. And instead of 6 points, you can, if you're lucky, get, let's say, 3 points, or even 2 points if there are some other grammar mistakes. So we don't need that, right? We need our 6 points for number 37. So to get those 6 points for number 37, we need to know how to ask different types of questions. And that is really, really important. So 4 points you get in the speaking, task 2, and you got, let's say, a part of 6 points if you ask 3 questions correctly in task number 37. So I think that is a valid reason to understand and to know how to ask questions, right? So yeah. Another thing which I'm going to talk about is negative sentences. Why is it important to know? Why are they important? So, okay, questions are important. We got some tasks dedicated specifically to asking questions, like I already said, task number 2 and 37 is partially dedicated to that. But what's up with the negatives? The thing is, guys, for example, let's imagine that you're doing a task in listening, which is number 2, true, false, not stated. And you have got, for example, David does not live here. And you usually have not highlighted, in capital letters, like if you're writing it in caps lock. So what we have there is not. And if you don't pay attention to that not thingy, wow, you cannot imagine how many times I personally did not pay attention to that. And that is why I made the mistakes in this task when I was doing it. So yeah, guys, it is really, really important to be attentive and pay attention to all those not, which are basically a part of negative sentence. Because how do you, in general, form a negative sentence? You just add not, right? Well, of course, some rules apply, but that's just about that. Okay, and where else? Okay, you get it. True, false, not stated is really important, but you also have this kind of not, for example, in reading, and you also have this kind of not in all of the tasks, which are 19 to 24. Basically, it can be anywhere. And it is very, very, very important to know how to do negatives and to understand. So, yay, this is a negative statement, negative sentence. So, yeah, we should know how to do them. And of course, positive ones. A lot of sentences are positive, of course, and we definitely need to know how to form them. So we don't make any mistakes here. So, as I already said, three types of sentences which are really important to understand and which are really important to know how to form. Those are positive sentences, negative sentences, and questions. I already covered them and told them where you can find them, so why it is important to know them. And let's move on to the next one. And the next one is questions. I already started with questions and I told you where you can find them. So let's have a look at the types of questions. We have got so-called general questions or yes-no questions. You can find both in grammar. Doesn't really matter how you call them, but what we have here, basically, it is when we have a yes-no question. So the answer to this would be either yes or no. Let's have a look here. Do you live here, right? Do you live here? The answer would be either yes, I do, or no, I don't, right? Which is quite a straightforward answer, quite a straightforward question. And the next one is, do you like it? So do you like it? You can say, yeah, I do, or no, I don't like it, I don't like it, or yeah, that's so wonderful, that's amazing, that's absolutely outstanding, gorgeous, and all of the beautiful synonyms that we have in the English language to say that we like something very, very much or we love something. But what I want to do here is to pay attention how we form them. So can you see we have this do here, right? So this is a special type of the verb which we put before the subject to ask questions, right? This is present simple here. So this do is what we ask, do is what we put before the subject. And then we've got the rest. For example, if the question was about he or she or it in the same present simple tense, it would be does. So I would start my question with does. For example, does he live here? Does she live here? And so on. Or does he like it? Does it like it? Does she like it? And so on. But yeah, because we have you here, we use do. So basically, one more time, general questions are about yes or no answers. That is why they are also called the yes-no questions. So next one, alternative questions. It's when you give some kind of an alternative to a person you're asking it, right? For example, is this dress blue or white? Or I don't know, is this a pen or a pencil? Is this a phone or a tablet? Well, depending on the size of this device, it could be both. But yeah, can you see this or here? This is where the alternative is. Is this blue or is this white? It could be green, black, any other adjectives. It can be anything else. For example, do we meet at 5 p.m. or do we meet at 5 a.m.? Also a very nice alternative, and it is really important to know. So when you have this kind of or situation, when you don't know this or that, these or those, this question is called an alternative question, right? And also, this is how we form it, the same thing. Tag questions. So this one is kind of my favorite one because it is very interesting. This is what British people love. And they have got even the special way of pronouncing this, isn't it? They would say, in it, in it. So I'm not that British. So I still pronounce it as isn't it. But what we have here is a kind of a tag which is attached to the main part of the sentence. So basically you can see it is called here is positive, right? So then we put a comma here and we have a negative tag. And it would be vice versa if it was, for example, it is not called here, is it? Right? So that is what would be here. Basically, this one is loved by British people. They adore it. I don't know why, but it would be, they will ask it about anything. For example, I have got a pen here and I say, it's a pen, isn't it? Or it's I don't know, it's a mug of coffee, isn't it? And so on. So yeah, they love asking those things and they love asking those questions. We have the same in Russian, but we don't use the tag. We just say не так ли, не правда ли, all that stuff. And the questions which give us the most amount of information. So the majority of information. Special questions or WH questions. Like, can you guess, guys, why are they called WH questions? I just wonder. Can you guess that? Please comment down below. Right? Okay, I'll wait for a second. So, special questions, information, we gather it there. And how do we do that? We ask questions, of course, but we start them with question words. What, when, why, where, which, who, all of that kind of stuff. All of those special question words, almost all of them start with WH. So let's have a look. What? I've got what here in the example. What is your name? Where? When? Why? Who? And so on, right? All of them start with WH. That is why they are called WH questions. So, that's a really interesting one. And these kind of questions, special questions, they are the ones that you will probably need during your exam. So you will need to ask for information. For example, if we're talking about speaking task 2, which is in the oral part of the exam, you definitely need to ask for information there. You need to ask like what, for example, what equipment do you have in your gym? Or I don't know, what are the working hours there? Or something like that. And of course, you will need these questions. Oh, no, not this one, sorry. You will need these questions, general ones. For example, is it there? Is it not there? Is it available? Is it not available? All that stuff. So, one more time. General questions, yes, no. Alternative questions, is it good? Is it bad? To be or not to be? To ask or not to ask? All that kind of stuff. Tag questions, isn't it? Or in it? All that stuff. And special questions, which give us the most amount of information in comparison to all the other ones, are special questions or WH questions. Okay, guys, and do you have any questions? By the way, this phrase, do you have any questions? What kind of question is that? Is that a general question? Is that an alternative question? Is it a tag question? And or is it a special question? So, do you have any questions? Comment down below, by the way. Yeah? What kind of question is that? That is a general. Yeah, we have. It's a yes, no. Do you have? Yes, I do. Do you have? No, I don't. Basically, just that. Okay, questions. And I think we are basically done with them. And of course, I have already told you that we will definitely, guys, definitely need them if we are talking about task number 2 and in your speaking part. And if we're talking about task 37 if we're talking about your writing part. So I hope everything's clear. Oh no, let me this way. Everything is clear, isn't it? Right? Comment down below if you have any questions, and let's move on to the verbs. Oh, those verbs, guys. These are actions because we need verbs and we use verbs to express actions. For example, I'm talking right now. What am I doing? Talking. To talk is a verb, right? I am waving my hands and I am, I don't know, making some gestures and doing some gestures. Or, for example, I am holding my mug, my trusty one, or maybe I am drinking like this, or I am sitting right now, right? I am blinking. I don't know what else I'm doing. I'm looking at the window. I'm talking to you. I'm reading my presentation. I'm rubbing my nose, all this stuff. So guys, we cannot really imagine our life without our speech, our language, without verbs, because verbs describe actions, right? So, and there are kind of roughly 3 main types. You can say that you can divide them into 3 main categories. So first one, regular verbs. Play is regular, live is regular, clean is regular, wash is regular, to water as a verb is regular. All of those ones are regular. So the majority of the verbs in the English language are regular verbs. But if we have regular verbs, we also have irregular verbs, right? Right, of course you're right. Those are very well known to you. I assure you, you know them. They are go, they are do, think, be, swim, catch, buy, break, and all that stuff. Write, I don't know. A lot of the verbs that you know really, really well and you use them almost all the times, they are irregular. We will talk about them a bit later on, but yeah, in general, this ones. And modal verbs or modals. These are can and must and could and would and should and shall and might and all of those verbs. They are very interesting in my personal opinion. They tell us about some possibilities. They tell us about some opportunities. They tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. They tell us what to do, what we should do, what we must do, and so on. So they kind of control our lives and kind of control our actions. So yeah, those are very, very, very interesting, and those are very, very important in the speech. But what makes them different? We will talk about it a bit later and why they are so, so special. So basically, let's start with why we need them. Of course, I already said that we cannot imagine speaking without verbs. We cannot imagine writing without verbs. But are they checked anywhere at the exam? Yes, they are, of course. All of the part from 19 to 36, you can meet a verb, any kind of verb, anywhere here. So in tasks 19 to 24, for example, it's like you need to put the correct form of the verb. In tasks 24 to 29, for example, you need to form a verb from a noun, for example, like, you know, water to water, all the stuff. And in task 30 to 36, you just need to remember, oh, this verb has this meaning, or that verb has that meaning, and so on. And of course, we cannot imagine, as I said, neither writing nor speaking without the verbs. Because, like, what would we do? I don't know even. Like, I pen and what? What is that? Instead of I write, I cannot say I pen because I'm not a pen. And yeah, it's just any language, I don't know, maybe any language, but English definitely is impossible to imagine without the verbs. So any kind of statement written, which is 37, 38, and any kind of speaking, which is basically speaking, the whole speaking, 1, 2, 3, 4, they are impossible, 1, 2, 3, 4, without verbs. Absolutely impossible, right? Absolutely not. So let's talk about details right here. And we have got how to write, what to do with regular verbs. And basically, if we're talking about present simple or present tense, like present simple, present continuous, or even present perfect continuous, it's not that important that you know how, if it's a regular verb or if it's a regular verb. No, or even if it is a future simple or future continuous or future perfect continuous, it's not important to know. But if we're talking about any perfect tense, if we're talking about any past tense, if we're talking about any form of the passive voice, that is where you need to know whether the verb is regular or the verb is irregular, because that really depends on what we do with them. And basically, if the verb is regular in all of those tenses when we use it, and we need to know it, we need ed, because it is regular and it doesn't have any forms. So yeah, let's have a look at the spelling. But let's have a look at the spelling, and there are some spelling rules here. The first one is the general one, the easiest one. We just add ed. For example, park, parked, cleaned, cleaned. Yeah, cleaned, cleaned, but okay, clean, cleaned. Wash, washed, and so on. If the verb ends with an e, we need to add d. Not ed, but just d. For example, hope. Hope finishes or ends with an e, right? That means that we need to add ed somehow. But we already have e. Why would we need another one? We don't need it to be read like hoped or something like that. That is why we just need to add d. The same one. Wave, waved. Skate, skated, and so on. If the verb ends with a stressed syllable with a vowel and a consonant, so we need to double the last consonant. For example, stop. Stop. What do we do? Stopped, right? Or regret. Regretted. Prefer. Preferred. All the stuff, we will need to double the last consonant of the verbs to write it correctly. Next one, verbs ending with a consonant and y. So what do we have here? Let's have a look at the verb study. We have got y. It definitely ends with a y. And we have got d here. D is a consonant, right? And because it is a consonant, what we do to form it, we need to kind of get rid of y and change it into I, and then, only then, we add ed. The same goes to apply. Ends with a y, their L is a consonant, so that means that we need to change y into I and only then add ed. Tried the same thingy. So whenever you see a regular verb ending with a y, and that is really important, there is a consonant right here, it means that we need to change y into I, and only after that we need to add ed. But, as I already said, that is only if the letter before y is consonant. But what if it is vowel, like play, enjoy? We are good to go here. Just add ed, nothing else. Good to go. So if you see a vowel, A, O, E, U, all that stuff, we just add ed. Okay? Okay, guys, I hope it's clear. And that is all about regular verb spelling. If it is irregular, what we do there? We just need to memorize, unfortunately, guys. There is no other way. We just need to learn them. We cannot we cannot form them. We don't know how. There are no rules. There are some categories, but no rules. That is why they're called irregular. For example, why do we say cut, 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 and put, put, put? We don't change anything there. But for example, do, did, done, or have, had. Like what? There is now nothing that we can do to avoid learning them. And as I already said, irregular verbs are a very big part of our everyday speech, and irregular verbs are very, very common, guys. So we need to just memorize both how to say them, how to pronounce them, and how to write them. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any life hack here. I don't have a magic wand for you to all the irregular verbs. No. Unfortunately, no life hacks, nothing like that, just memorizing. I know it is boring and there are many different ways of doing that, but that is what we have to do. And that is, I hope that you have already done. By the way, did you notice? Have already done. Done is the third form, and we have got present perfect there. And do, did, done is irregular. So we use them very often, all of those irregular verbs. So I hope that I persuaded you to learn them. So let's move on. And the modals, guys. Modal verbs are really interesting. Well, that's my personal opinion, but I personally find them very interesting and even fascinating. Why? Maybe someone asks me why. If you don't ask me why, I will tell you the answer. Anyway, so as you can see, may, might, could, must, should, can, all of them are called modals, and all of them are kind of a separate category. But why? First off, we only can use the first form of the verb, like nothing else. Even if it is present simple he, for example, he can swim. This is what we need to say. We don't say he can swims. No, not like that. But the first one is the first form of the verb, always. Always, guys, always. The next one, no to there, please. I don't know how many times I have heard must to do it. No, please don't say that, please. Okay, don't do that. I just beg you, don't do that, please. That would be so nice. Don't do that. So no to after modals. No, please. So once we're done with that, first form no to, what else? They form negatives themselves. For example, can, cannot, or can't, should, shouldn't, must, mustn't, could, couldn't, may, may not, might, might not, all that stuff, right? They don't need any help. They don't need do to interfere. For example, you don't say he do not can swim. No, we don't say it this way, right? We just say he can't swim or he cannot swim. It depends on what you want or what you prefer. But we don't say he do not can swim. Oh my god, that blew my mind just saying that. And yeah, they form negative sentences themselves, and they also do that with questions, which is mind-blowing, right? They form questions themselves. We talked about how we need all those special helpers to form questions, do, does, did, all that stuff. But no! Modal verbs can just do that themselves. And that is why they are very, very special. Okay, let's have a look at a modal question. Not a question, but a modal sentence here. For example, let's say he can swim. Oh, that was Russian, sorry. I need to change my font and I need to change my language. He can swim. Oh yeah, that's the correct one. He can swim. That's a positive. As I already said, we don't need anything here. Not he can swims, but he can swim, right? Okay, next one. Let's make it negative. He cannot swim, or he can't swim. He can't swim. As I already said, we don't need anything here as do, doesn't, didn't, haven't, hasn't, all the stuff. We don't need it here. So just no need in that. And just to ask a question, what we do, we put can in the beginning and just ask it, can he swim? One more time, no do, no does, nothing there, just a verb, just a modal verb. It's like, Bond, James Bond, and here we have got verb, a modal verb. So yeah, that is what we have here, and that is why it is really, really important to know about these verbs. So they form themselves, everything basically. They are very responsible. They don't want to get help from anyone else. They don't need any helpers. They can ask questions themselves. They can form negative sentences themselves. So they do everything on their own. So yay! Kudos to them. Good job, guys. Good job, modal verbs. Okay. I hope that everything's clear there. And let's move on to plurals. Plurals is about nouns. And where do we use that? We use that a lot of times in 19 to 24, and a lot of times we use it in 25 to 29 when we understand that we need a plural, for example, plural form. For example, you have got the word science and you need to turn it into a scientist, but scientist, so this scientist, and then you have been. So you know that basically if it is just one scientist, that would be has, right? Scientist has been doing something, for example. But if you have, you know that this is plural. So that means that you need to know how to form that plural, right? Right. Okay. And of course, it is important while you're talking. Of course, it is important while you are writing something. So it is important not only in grammar. It is very important in task 37. It is very important in task 38. It is really crucial in task 2, 3, and 4 if we are talking about speaking. So that is where it is really, really, really important. So let me just pay attention to why it is important in task 37. For example, let's have a look. The question is, you know that you need to answer some questions there, right, in task 37. What kinds of sports do you like? It means that you need to list at least 2 of them, right? Because kinds of sports. And if you had something like what kind of sport is your favorite, that is the different answer you would need to give there. For example, this one, right? If we are talking about task 2, task 3, and task 4, they are in 38, of course. They are very, very plural noun oriented and plural noun sensitive. For example, if we're talking about advantages and disadvantages, which is 38 and 4, for example, we need to give 1 or 2, and it depends. It really depends, guys. So knowing how to form plural of nouns is really, really important. And of course, we're going to talk about it today, and we're going to start with the basic rule. The basic, most simple, how to make something plural, just add an S to the word. For example, I have got the word pen. I've got a pen here. And the plural will be pens. Or, for example, I have got a mug here, right here, right? The plural would be mugs. So basic, simple, or like in my examples, I have got doll plus S, dolls, accident plus S, accidents, and so on. But, as you know, English is not that easy, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. In my opinion, fortunately, because it makes it a bit more interesting. So we have got a lot of spelling rules, not a lot of, some spelling rules to remember. The first one is, if a noun ends with an X, SH, CH, S, SS, or we need to add es. For example, tomato ends with an O. What we need to do? We need to add es, right? Tomatoes. Dish ends with an sh, right? So what do we do here to say many dishes? We add es because it ends with an sh, right? But of course, we have got some exceptions. For example, photo, logically, if it ends with an O, we need to end es. No. I'm here to disappoint you guys. No, it is not. It's an exception, so we just add s. Photo, photos. Zoo, zoos. Kilo, kilos. Video, videos. And so on. The next one, if a noun ends with an fe or just with an f, we change f into v and then add es. Wow, that was mouthful to say, but it really is quite simple if we're talking about examples. For example, wife. Wife. We can see it ends with an fe, right? So what we do? We change f into v and add es. We've got wives. Knife, knives, the same. But, of course there is a but. And in this case, we have got some exceptions. Cliff, cliffs. Roof, roofs. Giraffe, giraffes. Right? Right. The next one is very similar to what we were talking about when we were talking about verbs and changing them into past tenses and into adding ad to them. The rule here is similar. If a noun ends in a consonant sound and y, we change y into I and then we add es. For example, city, right? It ends with a y. Okay, cool. But T is a consonant. It's not A, it's not O, it's not U. It's a consonant, right? So, because it is a consonant, we need to change Y into I, and only then we need to add ES. So we've got city, cities. The same goes to study, studies. But, as in the verbs, we have this almost similar, always quite the same rule. If a noun ends with a vowel and Y, we add just S. For example, toy, right? It ends with an S. But before it, we have got O. O is a vowel. And it means that we just need to add S. We don't need to change Y into I and do all of those extra steps. No. We just add S and that's it. Toy, toys, boy, boys. Easy peasy, right? Right. Okay, guys, do you have any questions on why plurals are important? Why it is important to know plural form of nouns? Why and how to form the basic ones? No? If you do, write down below. Okay, and of course, English is not English without some exceptions. We have got some nouns which are a bit different. They're like, we don't need your S to form a plural because we want our own special forms. And our special forms are for those nouns that you can see on your screens. The first one is man. Man, man, woman, women. Who knows why, but not me. Women. Child, children, person, people. Tooth, teeth, food, feet, sheep, goose, geese, mouse, mice, ox, oxen, fish, fish. All of those are very, very special. They are our sons and they make our life more interesting because they have the special form of plurals. So, if you next time are doing something like 19 to 24, and you see a man there, like man, just man, almost automatically you can say men. But please, never, ever don't add just S there because it is an irregular noun which doesn't want to just add S. No. They want to be special. That is why they have got their own special forms to form nouns. Okay, guys. Do you have any questions or is everything clear? I hope everything's clear. And if you do, please comment down below. Right there. Right there. That would be really, really nice. Okay. And the numerals. Numerals and numerals. One more time. Why is it important and why do we need them? And what types of numerals are there? First one, we have got cardinal numbers and we've got ordinal numbers. Look, what's that? Cardinal numbers are the numbers which represent quantity. So how many? 1. How many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 million, doesn't matter. If we want to know the quantity of something, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's cardinal numbers. But do you remember those PE lessons when your teacher tells you just count? Or I don't know, and you start first, second, third, fourth, all that stuff. So this is when we're talking about ordinal numbers, and ordinal numbers in English are used quite a lot. For example, we use them when we're talking about dates. For example, today is the 18th of February, right? Right. I hope it is right. Yeah, it is. It is the 18th of February. Or when we're talking about our birthdays. For example, my birthday is on the 26th of June. So can you see this ordinal number which I use there? Or we also use them when we're talking about kings and queens and so on. For example, right now, the UK has the king. And his name is King Charles III. Because he is the third king with the same name, Charles. So yeah, King Charles III. Before this king, the UK had the queen. The queen was Queen Elizabeth II, which is also an ordinal number because before her, the UK had Elizabeth I. Way back, long ago. But still, Elizabeth was the second Elizabeth on the throne. That is why she was called Queen Elizabeth II, right? Yeah. So these are some examples where we use ordinal numbers. And of course, why I'm talking about them if I'm talking about the exam? The answer is quite simple. You in the task number 19 to 24, you will be given any cardinal number. And what you need to do, you need to just make it an ordinal one. That's it. That is that easy. So if you see 1, you like first. It's nothing less than a second. But you get the point. And if you see 2, you do the second. If you see 3, you see the third. And it is like, it takes less than a second, really. So next time you see 1, automatically, just less than 1 second it takes to transform 1 into the first, right? So if you see a cardinal number in this 19 to 24, just make it ordinal. Put this number into order. That is all you need to do. Okay, cool. So the next one is how to do that. Let's imagine that you have forgotten on how to do that. Let's have a look on how to. To form an ordinal number, we need to add a suffix. And most often this suffix is ACH. Most often, but not always. 1 is irregular. Of course we have something irregular. Come on, guys, you know it's English. You know it's English. We always have something irregular and we always have some exceptions, right? Right, of course, right. So let's have a look at 1. It is irregular, and to make it ordinal, we just put first. And this will be true for all the numbers ending with 1, like 21, 31, 51, 191, doesn't matter. If it ends with 1, you should do that. So you should just put first in the end. But there is exception even to that. 11 doesn't follow the rule. 11 is like, that's my right. I don't want to follow the rule. I will be 11th, right? I want to add a th. Why did I write the here? I don't know. But please don't look here. I will probably get rid of it. Yeah, oh, that worked. th suffix. That I don't know why I wrote there. Have no idea, honestly. But okay. Anyway, next irregular is to. And they are very similar with one. And if you need to make any kind of a number, and you need to make it ordinal, which ends with number 2, what you just do, you say just second. That's it. And of course, there is the exception. 12th is there. But for the rest, most likely, not most likely, but it will be just second, like 30-second, 2-second, I don't know, 50-second, 150-second, doesn't matter. 3 follows the same pattern. 3 is forms third, except for 13. So 13, 13th, but everything else ending with a 3, that's right. If we're talking about 0, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, there is a th suffix. For example, 10th, 29th, and so on. 11, 12, and 13, they just add a th because they are quite special. And 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, you just add th to them. But we have got some spelling here, and that is really important, and not only on if we're talking about ЕГЭ, because you can basically write them except for tasks 19 to 24, you can write them with numbers. But this one is also very, very useful if we're talking about ЕГЭ as well, because there you need to write the numbers in letters if we're talking about tasks 16 to 11. So 6 to 11, sorry. 6 to 11, yeah. So spelling, guys, really important. 5 and 12, you know, both end with VE. So what we do there? They're like, nope, no VE for us. Let's do FTH. So now they are doing FTH. 8 and 9 don't need their last letters because we don't need A to th. No, it's just 8th. And 9th, the same. And the last one, if we're talking about like round number, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So basically each 10 starting from 20. You know they end with the V, with the W, right? 20, 30, 40, 50, all that stuff. So what we do, because T, we just change Y into I and add ETH. So we've got IETH. And instead of 20th, we've got 20th, 20th, 30th, 40th, and so on. Okay, guys, do you have any questions about that? And do you have any questions about why numerals are important and why it is important to know how to form ordinal numbers out of cardinal numbers? Well, I hope no. If yes, please comment down below. You know what to do. And let's practice. So, Donna hated PE. It was her least favorite subject at school. It wasn't like Donna didn't like sports. In fact, she blah 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 a good swimmer and she loved doing yoga. So, I've got be here. Be is a verb, right? So, what else I can tell you? It's irregular. And I need a past tense here because I have got she loved, blah blah blah, she didn't, wasn't, all the stuff. So I need a past tense here. So past simple would do the trick. And how do I form past simple? To do that, I need the second form of the verb to be. But be is tricky. Be is tricky even here. We've got was for singular and we've got were for plural. And that is also very important to understand which is singular, which is plural. She, we have got she here and that's singular. So what do we use? We use was. She was a good swimmer. Next one. But she enjoyed sports only when she was allowed to do blah, 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 blah at her own pace. At school, however, it was always a competition. So what we have here, thin. And most instantly, what we need to understand, thin is a noun, right? And what we do in 19 to 24 to understand correctly and to do the task correctly, if we see a noun, we just put it into its plural form. Thin has nothing special here, so let's just add an S. Things, right? Okay, next one. She especially disliked races, and this is what she was doing now. She had been running for 15 minutes already and was out of breath. But Donna, blah, 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 to be the last to arrive and at the finish line, she was sad. So she, and we have got negative here. And that is why I also said it is really, really important to know which one is negative. So guys, let me take a sip of my magic drink. And you think while I'm doing that. So not want is negative. And what we have here is we need to put it into past, right? So we know past simple needs some help to be formed into a negative sentence. Did not want. That is what we have here. Next one. Suddenly she got her blah, blah, blah wind. And we have got 2. That is what I was just talking about. 2 is a number, right? 2 is a numeral. And we know that 2 is a cardinal one. So how many? 2, right? But we need to put it into order. That is what we do with any cardinal number. We put it into order. And we've got second here, right? Second. Okay, next one. Recently, the suburbs of the city of Cape Town in South Africa have been suffering from attacks of baboons. Baboons are rather big monkeys that can be quite scary because of their big, sharp, blah, 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 especially fangs. Okay, and we've got tooth. Tooth is an irregular noun which we need to make plural. And we remember that we have got teeth, right? Tooth, teeth. This is how we do that. And the next one is they live on a mountain close to the blah, 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 and often come down to steal food from people. So we have a good house here. House is quite a regular noun. We just add S because that is what we do with all of the nouns. We just make them plural in 19 to 24. So I hope everything's correct here. I hope there are no misunderstandings here. And I hope that you guys understand everything clearly right now. So please, I really, really ask you to leave me any questions if you have any. And while you are doing that, let me talk about our school a bit more. So I will switch to Russian right now. И расскажу вам немножечко про подготовку к ЕГЭ по английскому языку у нас в онлайн-школе Учёба.ру. Итак, у нас с вами осталось 4 практически месяца. Февраль, март, апрель, май. 4. Это приблизительно 25-30 уроков, лекции, семинары. Занятия проходят у нас с вами 2 раза в неделю. Это, соответственно, у вас будет 15-20 домашних заданий. Каждый месяц у нас проходит пробный ЕГЭ и пробный ОГЭ. И еще очень интересная штука – это разговорный клуб. Разговорный клуб – лично моя любимая тема. Я ее очень люблю. Это место, в котором мы можем поговорить по-английски на установленную тему абсолютно свободно. Абсолютно свободно, прекрасненько мы с вами говорим каждую неделю. Ну и плюс это подробная проверка сложных задач с развернутой обратной связью и с рекомендациями. Что еще у нас тут очень круто? Все это проходит на нашей собственной разработанной нами интерактивной платформе. Это интерактивная платформа для подготовки, все, что нужно вам для обучения, и все находится в одном месте. Если у вас есть любой девайс с доступом в интернет, телефон, планшет, компьютер, ноутбук, что угодно, телевизор, не пробовала, кстати, надо попробовать, вы можете зайти на нашу платформу, и у вас есть все там. Пробники там, доступы к семинарам там, домашки там, все там, абсолютно все там, даже статистика ваша крутая там. А еще у вас там есть суперудобное расписание и список дел. Вам сразу понятно, что нужно делать, когда нужно делать на каждой неделе. Ну вот, например, как раз у нас примерно вот эта неделя, 18-25 февраля, у вас будет такая надпись «Текущая неделя, понедельник, 18». Ну, окей, не понедельник, 18, понедельник, 19, ну, здесь у нас сказано для примера. Соответственно, вы должны посмотреть урок по литературе, вы должны посмотреть, сделать домашку по химии, и у вас есть урок по математике, по теме корень и рациональные уравнения. Страшное для меня непонятное слово, но для вас будет все супер ясно и все супер понятно, если вы только посмотрите, потому что у нас замечательные преподаватели, которые очень подробненько все расписывают и говорят вам, что делать, как делать, куда делать и как делать не надо, тоже говорят. Окей. И говорят это они все вам на интерактивных видеоуроках. Это супер понятная теория. Там есть конспекты для каждого абсолютно раздела этой теории. А еще, guys, там есть упражнения для закрепления. И это значит, что вы посмотрели видюшку, поняли весь материал, потому что не понять невозможно. Там все супер кратко и при этом подробно расписано. Замечательно. И вы тут же можете ответить на вопросы. И вы тут же можете понять, у вас есть там упражнения для закрепления. Они практически ориентированы, то есть они вам пригодятся, и они прям расписаны по темам в соответствии с тем или иным разделом экзамена, в соответствии с тем или иным заданием на экзамене. И что еще есть? Еще есть домашки с быстрой проверкой. И у вас есть удобные подсказки и пошаговые решения. Например, вот тут у нас с вами дана домашка по биологии. И задание, значит, вы посмотрели, все вам понятно, вы сделали дальше задание после этого. И, как я уже говорила, мы никуда не можем двинуться без домашки, потому что домашки делать важно, домашки делать нужно. И у нас здесь с вами получается, что в домашнем задании по теме биологии как наука вопрос звучит так. Какая из этих наук изучает грибы? Ботаника, лихинология, микология, бриология. И дальше вы посмотрели видео, вы знаете, что это микология, тыкаете вот сюда, и вам говорят, что правильные ответики стали зелененькими, неправильные потускнели. И дальше вам дают подробное решение и расписывают, что же такое у нас грибами, какая занимается наука, какая занимается чем занимается ботаника, чем занимается лихинология, и что же такое бриология, и что вы теперь знаете, что она занимается мхами. Окей, и дальше вы пришли, прекрасно, сделали домашку, посмотрели урок, и дальше вы идете на семинар. И на семинаре вы задаете все вопросы, если вдруг они у вас есть, живому преподавателю. С этим же живым преподавателем, с которым вы общаетесь по видео, со включенным микрофоном, с возможностью комментирования всего чего угодно, вы просто разбираете тему, еще раз закрепляете все, задаете вопросы, если нужно, если не нужно, тоже можете задавать. И подробненько все разбираете, тема за темой. Вот. И, как я уже говорила, пробники. Это такая штука, которую наши студенты пишут ежемесячно. У вас есть часть заданий, которые проверяются сразу. Система наша проверяет, она у нас очень умная, между прочим, замечательная система. Как я уже говорила, это полные варианты ЕГЭ и ОГЭ, и наша система проверяет то же самое, что проверяет компьютерное ЕГЭ и ОГЭ. То есть это задание без развернутой части ответа. Я не знаю, как по другим предметам, по английскому это все задания, кроме письменной части, которая письмо и written statement, если это ЕГЭ, и все задания говорения. Вот эти части не проверяются, пока наш искусственный интеллект не дошел до того, чтобы проверять это все за экспертов. Но эксперты как раз-таки и есть те люди, которые проверяют дальнейшие развернутые задания у нас в Учёбе.ру. И что еще супер важно? У нас есть очень удобные чаты с преподавателями. Мы стараемся быстро отвечать на все вопросы, помогаем абсолютно во всем разобраться. Просто вы пишите нам в Телеграме и все. И больше ничего от вас не требуется. Любой вопрос, мы постараемся найти на него ответ. Ну и, коль скоро я уже заговорила про Телеграм, нам тут с вами не все же заходить на платформу, правда, да, чтобы посмотреть, какое там расписание. Мы просто присылаем вам уведомления в Телеграм, чтобы вы ничего не пропустили, и у вас сразу все видно. Ну и, пожалуйста, приходите к нам, записывайтесь. У нас скидочки сейчас, у нас есть последние наборы, последние места остались. Так что приходите. А я очень жду вас на занятиях в онлайн-школе Учёба.ру по английскому языку. На занятиях по английскому языку. И очень круто будет, если вы поставите этому видео лайк. like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will see you next time. I think in a week, maybe a bit earlier, I don't know yet. So guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. Thank you so much for taking part. And I hope you can now understand every single aspect of the basic grammar that you need to pass your exam with flying colors. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I will see you when I see you. Goodbye. Have a really, really, really nice day. Bye.